Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I have the pleasure of speaking with Roni Britton, the Pure Food Ph.D. Hi, Roni. How are you today?
I'm fine, Jeremiah. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
And I'm so happy that you brought this subject to us. Now, Roni has a lot of experience in the field of natural, healthy foods. And she also has the skills of a copywriter, so she sees how to combine this type of unique selling point with the marketing to help your hotel create a competitive advantage. Now, in today's presentation, you're going to show us how to keep the hotel restaurant full, how to use that to drive a competitive marketing advantage, and also how to use it to create reviews that continue to market to the most important guests, which are affluent guests or the younger guests, right?
That's right.
Excellent. So just a quick housekeeping note before we begin. Everybody, we are going to have the PDF available at the end, so just stay to get that. But do please take out a pad of paper so you can take down some notes and get some inspiration as we go through this presentation. And if you do find that this presentation is useful and it's something that you would love to see at your hotel too, please consider working with Roni to create a strategic plan that will target these best guest segments. Okay, and so with that, I will hand you the ball. Thank you so much for putting this together, Roni.
Thank you, Jeremiah. And as you said, food is so important today to hotel guests. And we're going to talk about some ideas that can make your hotel's culinary program more profitable. I'll turn to my first slide. A lot of people think it's smart to cut the cost of ingredients, but that's actually the problem. That's the reason your restaurant may not be as full as it should be. It's because the quality of your ingredients is declining, and the food doesn't appeal to major segments of the market. The industrial efficiency of large food suppliers may result in low prices, but if the majority of today's guests want fresh, local, farm-to-table dining, well, they won't be interested in visiting your restaurant. However, by answering a few questions, we can improve the quality of your food in your hotel's restaurant and actually increase the number of guest bookings for your hotel. So let's consider these questions. Number one, do you eat in your restaurant every day? Two, are you sourcing nationally from a few big suppliers? Do you have local cuisine? What do the local foodies say about you? Now, if you answer these questions honestly, it should tell you why your restaurant isn't consistently as full as it should be. But first, a little about me. For some time, I've had growing concerns about our industrial food system and the continual increase of chemicals used to produce our food. I've seen the impact that it's had on our well-being, our environment, and our local economies. And I was determined to help guide a positive change in food quality and purity. And, well, that's what led to my earning a Ph.D. in nutrition. And I've chosen to focus on holistic nutrition. I'm a registered nutritional consultant and a member of the International Organization of Nutritional Consultants. Through the years, I've helped a number of people improve their lives and their productivity by choosing foods grown sustainably without chemicals. And I've seen changes in these people that are quite remarkable. I show people how easy it is to replace processed or industrial food with pure, organically grown food. One person I worked with followed my suggestions, and within just a few weeks of eating pure, real food, well, she lost 30 pounds of excess weight. Her skin was softer and her complexion was noticeably radiant. Well, she was thrilled. And today, when she travels, she looks for hotels and restaurants that offer organic and local pure food options. The trend of people seeking real food is actually growing. Research shows that more than 7 in 10 adults are trying to eat healthier at restaurants than they did just 2 years ago. And more than 8 in 10 pay attention to the nutrition content of food, now more so than they did 2 years ago. And it's important for hoteliers to be aware of this trend toward healthy food among their guests. And now I would like to tell you about a very prominent hotel whose restaurant effectively reaches out to the desires of a very large demographic, which is the young and the affluent. So going to the next slide. Now, this is the J6 restaurant at the Kimpton Hotel Salomar in San Diego. Now, this website page communicates very directly that they serve honest food and drink. The words honest food are part of the restaurant's logo, as is a stalk of wheat. One important thing to notice is how this hotel restaurant communicates its message. Well, you can see that they're using specific food descriptions to attract the large demographic who have specific cuisine preferences. So look at some of these key words and phrases. We see that there's grass-fed beef steaks, that the staff is eager to discuss the origins of the ingredients. Notice the words fresh, organic, local produce, sustainable fare, herbs that are grown on the hotel's own rooftop terrace, and that they have house-cured charcuterie and homemade mustard. So they even make their own sauces. And that's important because not all restaurants do that. A lot of them will just have those that are pre-made. So this is very special. And these are the type of food descriptions that the young and the affluent are looking for in a hotel restaurant. So we'll go to the next slide. And here, the Hotel Salomar is receiving a restaurant food delivery. Now, what's being delivered is not the typical institutional fare. It's not frozen, not in cans, nor from factory farms. In short, it's not from industrialized agriculture. It's what we simply refer to as real food. It's locally grown, it's by local farmers, and it's as close to nature as possible. In fact, it just doesn't get any more local than this. And here we also see the important messaging, the grass-fed beef, the seasonal, local produce, sustainable. So it's communicating that your hotel restaurant addresses these culinary preferences is really important. So let me show you why. Well, now more than ever, and I'm on the next slide, people are just looking for pure, wholesome food options and whenever they travel. And that's especially true among the younger and more affluent demographic. This young and affluent segment of the population is really driving the change in travel cuisine. Now, this chart, the blue bars basically depict the millennial generation, and the gold bars depict the baby boomers. Now, we know that the millennials now outnumber the baby boomers. In fact, they do actually comprise the nation's largest demographic. The millennials are also the fastest growing segment for travel spending. But together, These two generations constitute a huge portion of our population. Well, that's why the experts in hospitality marketing are very eager to appeal to the interests of the young and the wealthy. And food, we know, is of great interest to them. Food is, in fact, a huge element of the whole travel experience. Now, this chart shows us that a full 98% of the millennials say that eating local cuisine when traveling is very important to them. For the affluent boomers, too, this percentage of people who want the local cuisine is also substantial. And we also know that both the young and the affluent travelers are very willing to pay a premium for pure, sustainably grown foods. The younger and affluent guests also expect food to be free of GMOs. And approximately 34 to 35% of these generations specifically avoid junk food when traveling. Now, that's really a very significant percentage. And we'll move on to the next slide. Now, sourcing of local food is really not challenging. Here we'll uncover several misconceptions about serving locally sourced or organic foods. Now, the first misconception is that healthy food just doesn't sell. Well, yes, it does. And we just saw on the last slide that healthy food is very important to the largest segments of the population when they travel. And number two, there's a misconception that customers won't accept higher menu prices. Well, yes, they will. And in addition to the chart data we just looked at, a recent Nielsen survey found that 88% of people polled were willing to pay more for healthy food. And we know that the younger generation guests aren't even interested in food that is more affordable if sustainability or the environment is compromised. Well, it's no longer all about price. That strategy is 20 years in the past. And there's a new dynamic today that hoteliers need to embrace. And that's that the modern guest is willing to recognize and pay for quality, for sustainability, and traceability. Now, the third misconception is that sourcing farm-to-table foods will just be too challenging. Well, it's actually easier and more profitable than you might think to provide healthy menu options. Sourcing healthy foods doesn't necessarily increase the hotel's costs because people are willing to pay a premium for those quality foods. So the return on investment is quite often substantial. And today there are several helpful resources that can facilitate changes in your culinary program. For example, there's a new app available that helps connect chefs with local area farmers. Now, number 4, there's the misconception that the menu will need to change. Well, in most cases, it's not necessary to change the menu. Only the sourcing may need to change, and any changes can be incremental. So we'll move to the next slide. And now we're going to cover 5 strategies that hoteliers can use to attract the attention of young and affluent guests, and I might add, gain their loyalty. Now, number one, uh, serve food that is fresh, local, and sustainable. There's just source seasonal produce from the local area farms. Guests want to trust that the local food they're eating is from a nearby farm. And number two, emphasize the experience. Now, I love it when hotels include menu inserts with brief facts, stories, and pictures of farms and maybe even the artisans, like, say, a local cheesemaker. And tell how the food made its journey from the field to your hotel's dining room. A short bio of a featured farmer, or rancher, or artisan could be presented in the menu. And such information really makes people feel good about the food that they're about to eat. Farm to table dining is in itself an experience of intense, fresh flavors and just dining close to nature. Now, I like hotels that offer chef's tables, and this is a table that's actually within the kitchen. Guests love this experience because, well, they're treated to a behind-the-scenes view of that culinary action that's going on right within the kitchen. They have the privilege of watching the chefs at work, and some restaurants are finding that this is actually their most popular table. Study results show that 53% of younger diners are interested in this sort of back of the house experience, and it's quite profitable. I have seen upscale hotels charge $150 per person for chef's table dining. Now, if 6 guests were accommodated at that price each night, well, your restaurant revenue would increase by over $25,000 each month with this strategy alone. That's very significant. Now, there's other ways of emphasizing the experience, and that include chef tableside visits, cooking classes, and, well, there's my favorite, a hotel restaurant garden attraction. Now, the hotel garden can produce really a vast array of fruits, vegetables, herbs, edible flowers, and even beehives are becoming part of the restaurant garden at some hotels. Now, at those hotels, the honey from the garden's beehive is actually served in the hotel's breakfast buffet. And that is a huge attraction that draws the younger guests. And all with an investment that's very minimal. Now, the younger diners in particular love to support restaurants that grow their own food. It might be possible for some hotel restaurants to provide seating that's right in that scenic setting of the garden patio. And the garden can also provide a picturesque backdrop that will attract young brides for their weddings. And one important consideration here is that if there are very few hotel gardens or rooftop gardens in your area, then your hotel can become a destination simply because the restaurant garden is an attraction. Now, the garden also becomes part of the hotel sustainability program. The sustainability aspect of the garden also serves to attract the younger guests. Gardens are a proven money-saving asset that reduces food costs. One way is the bounty from the garden can also be sold to other area restaurants. The food waste can be composted into natural fertilizer for the garden. The investment in the garden will not only increase guest bookings, it will strengthen branding and improve the hotel's bottom line. It's also essential to provide transparency about the food served. Now, this is so important because food fraud today is rampant. Now, with the increasing popularity of local food, sometimes claims of local food are made when the food is anything but local. And that's why guests, young people especially, want to verify the sources of their food. So, give information about the purveyors of the foods. List the farms and ranches that provide the food products to your hotel. Supply answers to basic questions like, is the food organic? Or are organic ingredients available? Is the beef grass-fed? Do you use organically raised free-range chicken? Is the fish wild-caught? Also, give links for the guests to personally verify the claims made about the purveyors. And 4, with today's guests, it's critical to offer proof that the foods served are good for people, for the environment, and society. So, supply facts about the healthful quality of the foods. Grass-fed butter, for example, is a pure, real food that's very beneficial for people. So explain why grass-fed animal products, including grass-fed beef, that too is a very healthy food. You know, the grass is the natural diet of the cows. They stay healthy eating their natural diet in a pasture environment, and so there's no need for any hormones or antibiotics in that food. That natural goodness of the beef, naturally raised, supports our well-being, including a normal balance of weight for us. So communicating these facts about the healthy food that you serve will attract younger guests and the affluent boomer generation to your hotel. Also, indicate how the regenerative practices used by the hotel's food purveyors protect the health and purity of ecosystems. Sustainably sourced food reduces pollution in the soil, water, and air. Describe how your hotel's support of local growers helps strengthen the area economy. Now, don't discount the importance of these considerations. Remember, the largest segments of today's market look for this information in their hotel and dining choices. And finally, in today's busy world, it's necessary to accommodate convenience. So give some fast dining options that will satisfy the busy business executive who doesn't want to compromise on nutrition or flavor or quality. One example might be to offer fresh, wholesome meals that guests can pre-order the night before and just pick up in the morning before they leave. I have a friend who's a CEO for a large company. He travels frequently and found that spending a great amount of time on the road was causing an unhealthy drain on his energy. Plus, he was finding mostly unhealthy food options. So I helped him find hotels that offered fresh, local, organic foods. I gave him some tips on eating healthfully while traveling. Well, very quickly, he regained his energy and maintained that vitality throughout each business trip. He found that his trips were far more productive and more profitable. So implementing these strategies can keep you ahead of the curve in appealing to the desires of younger and affluent guests. And that's how you'll be sure that your restaurant is alive and is bustling with energy and energetic people Okay, and we'll move on to the next slide. We'll look at the benefits of using local and organic foods. The number one benefit here is greater guest satisfaction. Number two, there will be heightened guest loyalty. Satisfied guests turn into loyal guests. Local organic fare is what they want, and they'll be back and they'll tell their friends. You'll gain the support of local foodies, and they will naturally spread the word about the sustainable local fare at your hotel. That will lead to more guest bookings. Number three, a healthier hotel workforce is another benefit. Healthy food environment encourages healthy eating among the staff. Now, let's look again at one of the questions that we considered at the beginning of our discussion. That question was, are you eating in your hotel restaurant each day? Well, consider setting an example of pure, wholesome eating. You know, access to healthy foods free of toxic chemicals enlivens mental capacities and heightens the drive for success. So don't be surprised, even if you find that staff interaction with guests improves. And number four, benefit is the strengthening of the local economy. Supporting local growers keeps more money reinvested and working within the local community. And that strengthens your hotel. It's good for all business, and everyone in the community benefits. Number five, there's improved profit potential. Profits will increase because more guests will be drawn to your restaurant and hotel. Profits are also realized because people are willing to pay a premium for high quality food. You know, charge what you need to charge to get the quality foods from local farms and artisans. People recognize the value and accept the cost increase. And number six, and perhaps this is most important of all, your restaurant is full. Your restaurant will be consistently bustling with new and returning guests. And they'll share photos of your fresh, fine cuisine and their experiences of a fantastic experience. So we'll kind of wrap things up here. And next slide. Well, I hope that this has been helpful for everyone. And if so, please get in touch with me and we can work together to create a strategic plan for your hotel. We'll consider your specific business goals. We'll consider the local varieties of food that are available and your best guests' desires. As we've seen in this presentation, the millennials demand pure food, and they're willing to pay a premium for it. And this is where the millennial generation is going. If you'd like to have a strategic plan so that you can effectively market to the young as well as to the affluent travelers, well, we can work together on a plan that will help you capitalize on this opportunity. And because I'm also a copywriter, I can help you take this plan and put the pieces in place that you need to turn it into a reality. Now that includes building the landing pages and creating the messaging to help you get this in front of your target market. So here are my contact details, and you can also download these slides at moredirectbooking.com/purefoods.
Excellent, Roni. Thank you so much for putting this together. It's a real wealth of information. I love the story about your CEO friend who is traveling around, and he found that these foods were key to helping him keep his energy up through his business trips?
Yes, yes. And that is, I think, something that there are so many business travelers that are right now searching for hotels that can offer food that will help sustain them on their business trips and help them keep their energy up.
Yeah, it's a huge benefit. And if I was a group sales manager and the restaurant had a new menu like this, I would actually use it as a reason to reach out to local companies and say, hey, we do have this fare available, and if you have people who are visiting coming to visit your headquarters, they should stay with us because they're going to have an excellent experience, and that just translates into a great meeting. So I think it's a great reason to spur your group sales efforts. And I also like the idea of the chef's table. I mean, $25,000 in revenue a month, just by having this, that's amazing. But you just really couldn't have it if the chefs were just opening cans in the kitchen, right?
It wouldn't work that way, no.
No. It needs to have that real fresh fare, this bounty of greens and reds and oranges and all the fresh fruits and vegetables. Yeah, that sounds really great. And I really see how these things help hotels increase their revenues, help keep their restaurants busy, and overall help create a competitive advantage that's marketing to the next generation of affluent travelers, right? I see all that, but I think there's a catch. There's always, everybody has good ideas, and everybody is overwhelmed for time. And that means that even if they see a good idea, it's something you can do and you should do, but you don't do. And that's where I think that your services really come in as invaluable, because you're able to actually provide the leadership for a project like this, provide the consultant angle, and also put the bricks and the mortars in place with copy, with creating messaging, so that they can actually kind of give you the project and say, here, run with this. We want to see this up and live in the next month. So I think that's a huge resource for people. They should realize that there aren't a lot of people with this combination of skills. So I really recommend you reach out to Roni and get in touch with her, set up your own strategic plan, and put it in place. This is a really great opportunity to create a competitive advantage. So thanks again for putting this together, Roni. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Jeremiah, and I'm so happy to have this opportunity to share with you today.
Excellent. Well, have a great day. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.